Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Baby Names Live with me, Jennifer Moss.
And me, Mallory Moss.
We are the founders of babynames.com and we are co-hosts of the Baby Names podcast, we're on our third season. We have so many episodes that you can go back and binge on, which a lot of people are doing, and that makes me really happy. This past week, or this week's episode actually, was the topic, can a name make or break your success? Now, we're not going to tell you the answer, but there's a definite answer. And we went over names like names with creatively spelled alternatives, which you know my position on that. And we went over unique names, and we went over expectation names like honor and winner,
wisdom.
And we did have a special guest too, Abby Sandell from Appalachian Mountain. She writes articles about names and naming, and she is an actual name consultant, which is something I used to do, but don't do anymore because it was very frustrating. So God bless her. She's still a name consultant, and she gave us her opinion on whether a name makes or breaks success. So go listen to that one. We appreciate Abby being on the show. And then something that came across the wire after we recorded the episode, Mal, you had said that Tuesday was the only acceptable day of the week name. And then Rupert Grint of Harry Potter fame just announced his daughter's name, which was
Wednesday.
Right. What do you think about that?
Well, Wednesday just makes me think of the Addams family, actually. So it doesn't work for me, but maybe for younger folks like Rupert, it works just fine.
Maybe. And, you know, it's not a Harry Potter name, I assume.
No, not that I know of, but I'm not an expert, as we all know.
Neither am I. So that was interesting. Now we do have a podcast about Harry Potter names, so you can go and listen to that one if you missed it. But today on this Baby Names Live, we're going to talk about name regret. And that is when you have named your baby a name, usually after they're born, and then you want to take it back. You don't like it, or there are several reasons for name regret. I guess if you were pressured into giving your child a name, like by friends or family or your partner, and then you have the baby and you're like, I knew I wouldn't like this, and I don't like this. What are some of the other reasons, Mal, that you would have name regret?
Well, if you don't realize that it sounds like something and then or someone, and then people tell you, hey, that sure sounds like, something raunchy, like Amy Schumer's baby. They named
who was
her
named Jean Attell. Right. And everyone thought that she had done that on purpose, meaning like genital. Because her act is kind of raunchy. Just because of her comedic persona, for sure.
So I think that's one of the reasons. Another is sometimes parents just look at their baby and go, this doesn't look like a Harry or a Beatrice, and I think that's less justified because we shouldn't be naming our babies based on what they look like, because
That's
they
true.
all look like Winston Churchill.
And, something we did say in the past episode is we don't know what their character is going to be either. Like,
Mhm.
you don't really have any inkling until they're at least one.
Right.
The other thing that you might have name regret over is if you named your child after, say, a fictional character or a
Mhm.
celebrity, and the public perception of that character or that celebrity has changed.
Yes.
For example, without spoilers, let's talk about Atticus, because everyone knew Atticus from To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mhm.
And he was a very beloved character played by Gregory Peck, I believe, in the movie, very beloved movie. And then after the second book came out, it was revealed that the character was extremely racist. It changed his
Mhm.
character entirely.
Mhm.
And by that time, though, Atticus had already taken off as a baby name.
Yes.
I don't think that the second book has hurt it at all. I think it's still a very popular baby name, but it's something that parents might want to consider. Like, don't ever be at the whim of an author.
Right.
I know from being an author. Another example, without going into spoilers, is the name Khaleesi, which is a little contentious, as it is.
Yes.
From Game of Thrones or the book series Song of Ice and Fire. But her character changes. And I actually have a friend who named his daughter Khaleesi. And when her character changed on the last season of Game of Thrones, he went and posted, "No, we don't regret naming our daughter Khaleesi," which made me think, maybe they regret naming their daughter Khaleesi. That doesn't protest too much. You know what I mean?
Maybe just the 100th person asked him in a row.
That's true. It's like, what do you think now?
Yeah, exactly.
So that might be another reason. Or, like we're talking about infamous people. The name Epstein is a very common surname. There's got to be Jeff Epsteins out there other than, the formerly convicted or, alleged criminal.
No, I don't think there was any alleged.
But he wasn't tried in a court of law.
Yeah,
anyway,
well, he was tried in court.
So
in
what do you do
perception.
if your name's Jeffrey Epstein?
Mm-hmm.
Or Joseph D'Angelo, which was the name of the Golden State Killer, who nobody knew about until a couple of years ago.
Right, exactly.
So what do we do if we have name regret? Well, there's several things we could do.
Yeah. We could change the name. Only up to a certain age as a child identifies with the name, and that you could be indicating that you are rejecting the child. If, and from a psychiatric perspective, that can be pretty difficult. Now, I would say, in my opinion, you could go up to maybe age 2. But I think that
that's even stretching it.
I think that is stretching it. And
1 maybe.
If you don't like the name after the baby is born, and you're really passionate about it, start calling the baby its middle name, and then
nickname, and
then you can make the change or let them choose.
Right. I think, we got a letter from a woman who wanted to change her daughter's name at 6 years old. And I think that is way too late.
Yeah.
And, by that time, the child identifies with the name. It becomes them. It's a part of their identity. And if you're rejecting that name, in a way, you're telling your child you're rejecting them. They don't know the difference. You can't say, I'm suddenly going to call you Jane or something
right
like that. Now, if it is something that, you're named like a serial killer or whatever, then when they're old enough to understand, you might want to have a discussion with them.
Right. Right. I'm sorry I named you the age or the name of a serial killer. I didn't realize. Would you like to change it?
Would you like to change it? Would you like to go by another name until you're 18 and you can change it yourself? That's what I would say.
Right.
You know,
Right.
a name is a gift. It's something that you give to a person, and once it's theirs, it's theirs. There's no takey backies, really.
No takey backies.
So that's my opinion. We have some, you mentioned Amy Schumer. There are other celebrities who have changed their children's names. I found a list online. Obviously, this past year, Elon Musk and Grimes, they had XAE-12, the numerals, or 12, the numerals, which they changed to Roman numerals. And probably because California state does not accept numerals as in part of the baby name. And of course, all the name laws are by state here in the US. And so they changed it to XAE-XII, which is the Roman numeral for 12.
Do you know how to pronounce that?
No, I've seen so many different ways.
Sure.
I don't know what the heck.
Okay.
Teen mom Caitlin Lowell and Tyler Baltiera originally were going to name their daughter Tesley, Tezlee. I would have advised against that. But then every time they heard somebody say it, they said it made them cringe. So they changed it, and Tesley became Veda, Vaeda, Luna. You'll like that. Veda Luna. Veda Luna. Sounds like a aria.
It does.
So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say Grey's Anatomy, Katerina Scorsoni announced that her baby girl's name was Arwen, Arwen, from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. About 3 months later, though, she decided to change her name to Lucinda, or Lucky for short.
I like Lucky as a nickname for Lucinda. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's cute, or loose.
Yeah.
I like Lucky.
Lucy. I don't like
Arwen
loose.
Is beautiful. Maybe they just had a little name regret because, don't use your children for your fandom type of thing.
Yeah. I'd say that's a really good point.
Don't use your children for your fandom. So what if they grow up hating Lord of the Rings or something? Right. And then the Bachelors, Jamie Otis and Doug Hayner, had originally named their son Hayes. We reported on this, I remember, Hayes, but then legally changed it to Hendricks. Both surnames. Interesting.
Yes.
Hendricks, probably after Jimmy.
Right.
I would assume. So they got to the point where I guess they just didn't want Hayes. I'd like to know the story behind that one. That would be interesting.
Maybe
Does anybody
they thought
out there know anyone who's changed their child's name? I don't think I personally know anybody who's changed their child. Oh, in adoption for sure. And
I don't think that's a great idea unless they're a super little baby.
She was like 8, and it wasn't a matter of having a non-English name to an English name. It was an English name to an English name.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. It was unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a celebrity that should have changed his name is Kel Mitchell with Allure and Wisdom. We talked about that. And anyone who named their daughter Birdie. Sorry.
No, Birdie's okay. Birdie's cute. We've always fought about the name Birdie. I like it. Jennifer doesn't like it. So
too diminutive. But again, something that Abby said that, like, who knows in 20 years?
Right.
Like Birdie could be like Maggie. Perfectly acceptable and not diminutive at all because there's so many birdies running around.
Exactly.
Okay.
Names in the news.
Yeah.
We missed this story. A Swiss couple named their daughter Twifia, TWIFIA, after an internet provider to get free Wi-Fi for 18 years. But they cheated a little. They put Twifia as the daughter's middle name. Nonetheless, they still got 18 years of free internet.
Okay, now the contest held by Twifi, TWIFI or Twi-Fi, whatever,
Wi-Fi
had announced that any parents who named their little ones Twifia or Twifius, totally horrible names, would get 18 years of free internet. Now, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't.
The middle name?
Not even the middle name. Because you're telling the child that the monetization is more important than their own name.
Now, these parents who wish to remain anonymous, I wonder why, said that they were going to put away the money that they're not spending on Wi-Fi for the child's education, but we'll see.
I would like to follow this up when the child is 10 and find out what they think about their middle name.
I want to know what the balance is on that savings account and see if they really did.
Good point. All right.
You know, I always call it Wi-Fi. We call it Wi-Fi in our home because when we went to Paris, that's what they called it in the hotel. And I thought that was really cute.
Wi-Fi.
But don't name your child Wi-Fi or Twifi or Twifius.
Twifius.
That's horrible.
I know. Well, tell me about singer Tom Parker.
Singer Tom Parker and wife Kelsey named their newborn son Bodie. But this is interesting. They named it after Patrick Swayze's character in Point Break. It was an older movie, obviously. He's passed for several years.
Yeah.
He has two middle names, Bodie Thomas Paris Parker. Bodie Thomas Paris Parker. And earlier this year, unfortunately, Tom was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. He's currently going through chemo and radiation. And so they also chose the name because it meant enlightenment.
Oh, that's sorry. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. We wish you the best, Tom Parker and Kelsey.
Right. And Bachelorette alum Emily Maynard just released the name of her baby girl. It sounds very Southern to me. It's Magnolia Bell.
My goodness.
Magnolia Bell Johnson, and she calls her Nola. And I thought, well,
Nola.
If they are from New Orleans, I think that might have been cute. But they're not. She's from West Virginia and he's from South Carolina. But, you know, South Carolina's very Southern. But Magnolia Bell, what do you think about that?
I like Nola, actually, regardless of where they're from. In fact, even if they're from New Orleans, I think that it's actually worse to name your child Nola. And the reason is if you're from Chicago, would you name your baby Chicago? That would just be a little strange. So I think
didn't Kanye do that?
Well, yes, but he's not from Chicago, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I don't follow up with the Kanye info. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Kanye West.
Just to put it out there. I'm from Chicago area. I would name a child.
Wasn't it Chicago West?
Well,
yeah, that's his name because of Kanye West. So like that's terrible. It does sound like a neighborhood. In fact, I don't even know what's in Chicago West. Is it like
You're such a North Shore girl? Oh gosh,
I'm a North Shore girl. Okay. Well, I've lived other places longer than I've lived in Chicago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. Okay, well, let's see. Bachelorette. Did we talk about Nola?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Well, what do you think of Magnolia Bell together? I think they're both great names on their own, but together it sounds like a Southern belle to me.
Can I tell you a secret?
Oh, okay.
I do not like flower names.
I like flower names. I just heard of a kid named Hyacinth.
Right. And I think they're awful. I think flower names are awful. I can't think of one flower name that I like.
But you'd name your child Luna the Moon?
Yes, I would name my child Luna the Moon, but I would not name my child Sunflower or
Rose.
Magnolia or
Well,
Rose.
we've got a
Yeah,
family history with that name, but
but poor Rose.
Daisy,
Daisy's as close as I get. I probably would name a baby Daisy.
Violet.
No. You're turning
Wow.
violet, Violet.
Okay, that's an older reference, but I like Violet. I'd say Violet is probably one of my favorite.
Names
I
all
wouldn't
together?
name no flower names.
Oh.
Daisy, I told you I wanted to use with Miranda, but mom nixed it because
Why again?
she said they'd call her Daisy Dozy because her last name was Mendoza.
They would not have called her Daisy Dozy.
Daisy, I don't think that Andy liked it either.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah. Plus, we always wanted to go with his mother's surname. So,
Right.
we're not sure if we're going to have an episode in 2 weeks because we have no subject. So
Well,
if you want to, like suggest a subject, then let us know. We did have a subject, but we can't find someone to interview about it. So we're going to push it into the back burner. And it's also the week of Thanksgiving. And weren't you going to be gone, Mel?
Yes, I am going to be gone. I'm going to be in Los Angeles.
Maybe I'll do a solo episode. I'll have to think about that.
Maybe make it all the names that Mallory hates that I like.
That's a good one. The Mallory has lost episode. And I'll bring on Bob. That's what we're going to do.
Bob.
There you go.
Hello. Who names the baby Luna?
Anyway, but then at the beginning of December, we're going to release our top names of 2020. And I've been doing a little peek of that list, and there's some very interesting things going on, and some interesting names that are hitting the charts, and some interesting names that are climbing the charts. So that's a don't miss episode. So we'll be back then and talk about that. And we're also going to probably after that, I'd like to do another one of those this, not that episodes. Like instead of using a top 20 name, we will give you some alternatives, similar names to use.
Great episode. I like that idea.
Those always do well. Okay, so anyway, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, the Baby Names Podcast, if you want to talk about anything that we've mentioned on any of the shows. We do hang out there, and we like to gab with our listeners.
Yes, we do. We love you.
Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.